Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I'm the Serious Strategy Gamer, and we are starting a new series today. We are going to play Old World. Old World is a game that I've just recently come across, really. It is a little bit like Civilization. I think it's fair to call it like 70% Civilization, 25% Crusader Kings, and various other tidbits in there. So that's a really interesting concept to me, because I really like, as most of you will know, I really do like big strategy games. This is fairly nice and this looks pretty good. It is early access, so there's a lot of, like, it's a developer build. It's really rough in a couple of sense, but honestly it's so excellent already. So I'm really in love with it. I had 2 test games here and they have been going fairly fantastic. So let's start a new game over here, and we're going to be playing as Greece. So you can see, you can of course in many of these games play as various different leaders of the ancient world. We're going to be playing here as Philip of Greece. I think that refers to the father of Alexander the Great. So he was really a big statesman and he's interesting. There are a lot of stats over here. We're going to go into the game and just see how things are going to work out. But basically you can see there are different stats here, and one of these is that all cities here have lower cost for settlers, so that's encouraging to go a little bit wider instead of taller, so more cities rather than big cities. But it's also a big boost here to cities, so that's nice. You could also play as Rome. For example, Rome does have a lot of military powers, but in these games I honestly do tend to play a little bit more peacefully, so we're going to try to play that out and see how that is going to work out. Now, in difficulty settings, we are going to be going relatively bad here with only the just, and that's just the second worst thing over here. Now there are a lot of bonuses that we get for that, but most importantly I think the AI is just not getting insane bonuses. So yeah, I think that's great. Map size medium, seaside sod does sound very great to me. And by the way, I do like the artwork. It is a little bit like my old history books. So yeah, I love it. So let's see how this is going to look and how things are. We are literally starting on the seaside, so just directly, immediately on the sea. It didn't have that last time. And here's the first change compared to Civilization, and I'll be comparing this to Civilization probably quite a bit. You can only build cities in certain city tiles. So we've got our first settler over here, so far so familiar, but we can only place our city in any of these tiles. And you can see how the city borders would change depending on where we are exactly with these with this city. So that's the first change over here. We might want to have a look at this over here. So we've got a little bit of fur over here. We've got some elephants over there. And we've got some game over here. And you can see these are sort of the bonusy things that you would expect sort of in a normal civilization setting as well. So we could either settle a little bit over here to the west. That would give us access to the fur and the elephant. And if we do go a little bit east even, that would not be possible. So that's not necessarily a great start over here, because I'm not sure whether we actually do have fresh water here. We do not. Now I think that's not a big concern. But yeah, now I think over here is good enough because we're getting these 2 bonus tiles. It's a little bit of a shame that we're not going to get the game over here. But city borders do expand over time, so I think going over here is fine. So we're going to use one move over here to get over here, and we can immediately found the city because there's another novel concept over here, the orders. We're going to talk about orders in a little while, but basically we can only do a couple of things each turn, but we can move, distribute or decide on how we are applying that to our different units a little bit more flexibly maybe than in Civilization. For now we only have 1 unit, so there's only little impact of that. Right, next change. We have families, and this is what is making this a little bit more like Crusader Kings, where we've got all of these personal interrelationships going on, maybe a little bit EU4, so quite a bit of these paradox hubs games mixed in here, and they are quite interesting, I find. So we have to pick 1 of 4 families that will be controlling basically this city, and this is a question that we have to do for every newly founded city. We could go for the Arigat family over here. They're a little bit more militaristic. They are producing additional military points, which is nice. Military or mounted units do start with a bonus over there, and we can build various different units in the family seat even if we don't have them. So this would allow us to go military pretty quickly. Don't think that's necessarily what we need. We could go with these guys over here. They are the artisans, so these guys are basically giving us better mines and lumber mills. Now, looking at this terrain over here, that's not necessarily the most relevant. Then we've got these guys over here, the patrons. They would give us a little bit more civil development, which certainly would be nice. Or we could go with the statesmen over here, which would give us likewise a little bit more orders and a little bit on other things as well. So honestly, this is kind of... So we can buy Harry City production with money over here on the family seat. That's not a bad idea at all to have that. The alternative with these guys over here to get Treasury 1 isn't bad either, because that would give us more money, and Decree is a type of civil thing that we can do to give us more things as well. So yeah, this is kind of difficult, but I do think we might want to go with the patrons over here, because they do give us a lot more civil engineering and sort of civil development, more culture, and I think that's a good choice here for our capital. So let's go ahead with this, and that's it. So here we go. This is tutorial, so it will explain a couple of things to us. First, another change over here. So we are getting a couple of free units over here. I think that's a pretty fantastic and nice change compared to Civilization, where you have to do a lot of different things all the time. So we are getting some bonuses here, and that's nice to see, because we already have a warrior, we've got a worker, and we've got a scout. So, and all of these units of course do what you would expect them to do. We have to pick our research, and there is a research tree in here that we can sort of look at. So that's all sort of looking very familiar, and we can pick different things over here. Now, in regards to what we might want to do, you can actually see that we only can pick from these 3 research areas, where a lot of more areas are theoretically open to us, but they do get reshuffled. So you sort of draw cards and you have to pick one of these things that we can unlock. So we could go for administration here. That would enable us a couple of things. I think trapping might be an interesting choice, because we probably need that to get a good camp here on these guys, So honestly, I do think... Yes. I do want to pick research here. I do think going for trapping is not a bad idea. 5 years, that's going to be a while, but that's fine. So, let's get into the next concept here. Orders. At the moment we have 16 orders, and every turn we are producing 16. Orders do not generally go over from turn to turn, so you basically in any one turn have 16 orders. Now, using a unit and moving it around will cost an order. So for example, if we take this scout, and if we are moving, let's say down here, let's say, yeah, I think down here might be good. We are seeing that there's another city site down here, so that's an area that we might want to explore. So going down here would cost 1 order. As you can see, a scout has these 5 little points over here, over the symbol there. So that means this unit can move up to, or use up to 6 orders. So we could move here, we could move here, we could move there, and we could move further, but we don't really see the area right there. So let's move over here. This guy's moving down there, and you can see the orders are dropping down by 1, and this guy has lost one of his unit abilities there, or one of these points. There we go, we're now down here, that's all fine, and we're using some of these orders to do that. Let's cross the river over here and move up there. We are seeing a couple of things over here, that's nice to see, and I do think we want to go to this goody hut over here. So yeah, let's actually go into that, see what event we are going to get. Our troops discover a towering wall depicting images and carvings belonging to an ancient civilization with an impeccable record of their laws. Our general will want to preserve such findings. What do you advise? So, advise, I command, bring the wall to Athens. That means we would be getting a little bit of civilian development, and that would be basically allowing our city to level up. And we as a person, so we as the founder, as King Philip over here, are getting a trade, steadfast, which would give us good bonus against tribes. So a little bit like city-states in Civilization, so basically lower tiers of civilizations and barbarians. That's nice. That's a good thing to pick up on early, so to pick on early. Or we could get a technology, and the aristocracy here is also quite tempting, to be honest, to get that early, because it would give us a lot of good technology here and just give us a nice and early boost here. Now both of these are very good choices, I feel, so I'm a little bit torn, but I think going for aristocracy here is a good choice. So yeah, let's do that. We're now down to one potential order with this guy, so we can't really move about all over the place, but what we can do is go down here onto this resource. This is salt, so we're going to move down there. And indeed the tutorial does tell us that we can harvest this. So for another order we can go ahead and harvest the sword. That is going to give us a slight boost to the culture level in Athens, and that's again a very nice thing. Now this guy at this point cannot move on further. That's not quite true. We could also use the march order here, and that would cost us some resources, specifically training rate, and we could force march him. And then we can move on further and use our orders to move this guy further. For now I don't think we have the need to do that, but it's always nice to have that choice potentially. Now over here we do of course also have this worker, and he does basically things as you sort of would expect him to do. We can build certain things here. We could build a farm, we could build a mine, or we could build crab nets, and all of these things are honestly very, very good things to build. So I'm a little bit torn over here what we want to build. I don't think there's any specific thing that we do need extremely early, but I am looking at the dice over here, because that would give us again more culture boost to our city, and it would be nice to get some early boosts to our city as well. Now these are also interesting, the crabs over here, and this is a very lush terrain, so you can see because it's lush it is getting a couple of bonuses. We cannot harvest any of these bonus resources here because they would require trapping, so that's not quite as interesting. And you can basically see there are a lot of different things that we could pick over here from the rural developments or anything like that. But really for now, I think honestly this stuff over here would be the most beneficial. It would also give us a little bit more money, which is nice. Certainly some food is nice early on, but I don't think we need that. So let's move over here. It's again going to cost us one order to do that, but that's fine. We do have 10, or now 9. And we can now build the nets over here. That's going to cost us a little bit of wood, and it's going to take 3 years, during which we will be spending one order each. So that's fine. We do have that, right? We do have a little bit of wood. We have 300, so honestly not a bad deal over here. Let's go ahead and do this. Are you actually doing that? Now you are. That's great to see. Good. And oh, we do have another worker over here. I didn't quite realize we had 2 workers, but that's nice to know. Okay, great actually. So in that case, let's get you, my friend, over here onto the crabs, and let's build some nets over here as well. So we're going to be starting a little bit coastally here, but that's fine. And that does leave us with this first melee unit. It's a simple warrior, and nothing too big. We can promote him, which would be an interesting choice. But for now, let's just use our orders here to move about a little bit with this guy. I think we can move over here and just scout out at least the immediate vicinity over here. And there is an ancient ruin over here, which is interesting. Now this guy cannot move quite as fast as this scout, of course, but that's fine. Right, and you can see that basically just moving all of our guys did basically completely deplete our orders. That's fine. We don't really need to spend all of them, but that is, I think, a very nice concept over here, because as you will be building up your empire, you basically need more and more orders just to keep everyone going. Otherwise, it's a sort of nice checks and balances on sort of the growth spam. So that's interesting. Right, centralization or vassalage. Now remember, we did get at the event where we picked aristocracy, and that is allowing us to pick now a law. You can only pick a law whenever you have enough civics. I think it's 400. We have more than 400, so it's immediately prompting us to go for either of these choices. We can go, I don't really know what these things down there do. We could open the screen, but basically we are giving a choice here between the vassalage, which would give us lower unit consumption, which basically is unit maintenance, or we could go with centralization, which is only a bonus to our capital city, but since at this moment we only have one city, I think that's a fairly good thing over here. So plus 25% civics and plus 25% R&D basically is a great choice. So we are going to pick that for sure. That's going to give us a very nice boost over here. By the way, you can see Athens is immediately starting to produce a settler, which honestly in my book is a fairly good idea since we already have a second city site down there. So far so good, isn't it? Right, we haven't really done the first, this has only been the first turn over here, and we can... No, sorry, that was the second turn. We are now in the second turn. Okay, great. So yeah, let's immediately start by dealing with this. So there's an event over here that acquires our attention. Time passes quickly. You still remember the birth of Prince Alexander. He's growing up fast and eager to learn. Would you like to educate Prince Alexander? So we have got our heir over here, and this again ties a little bit into this concept of Crusader Kings, which I really, really like, is that you're not only a nation, you are the leader of a nation, and you do need to take care of your personal affairs. So, here's Prince Alexander. He's our son, he's our heir. He's currently 14 years old, even though his portrait certainly does look a little bit older. How old exactly are we? 40. Okay, fair enough. And he is bold, so that's nice, and he does have a lot of courage, which is basically a military stat, and which is a fairly good one. So honestly, I think we're going to double down on that, and use that as, and just use him for tactics guy. So I think that's a good choice. Right, let's take our warrior here and walk into the goodie hut. A temple stands atop the crest of a high hill. Its terrace decorated with bright metal and ceramic. Local legend marks this site as where heaven and earth meet, where all life began. Of course, the only way to see its wonders is to inhale some sort of mind-altering plants along the hillside in an ancient spiritual ceremony. A soldier brings you a bowl of this strange powder, but he seems hesitant about its effect. So basically we can get high over here, which would give us, again, some civil development in Athens. And we'd be getting exotic, which is again a trait, which would give us some charisma, which is nice because it would give us a boost to our civic ability. So that's interesting. Or we could get some experience and some gold. Now, experience is nice to level up our leader, but honestly, I think becoming exotic here is an interesting choice. So yeah, let's get high and let's get some civilian development in Athens. Now, you might realize that did cost us one order here. That's fine. Our boats here are fine developing this. So let's actually get over here to the scout. Let's move on to the gold over here and harvest that as well, because it's going to give us some money over here. That's nice. And there is basically no direct downside of using harvests other than civilization actually. So I think that's an interesting concept. Slightly odd, but sometimes you want to get out of your way to actually move to a new location. Oh, there's another city site down there, which is certainly interesting to us. So let's have a look at it over there. And we are making our first encounter over here to the Numidians. Escaped prisoners of the Numidians have reached Athens with a band of bounty hunters close behind. The Numidians demand that we return these outlaws so that they may face justice. How do we respond? We could welcome them like a family. That would put us at war against the Numidians, give us some culture. They can stay, but they will work. Again, war, but we would be getting a citizen. Now, we can go to the citizens in a moment, or we could return them to their captors. And honestly, I think that's not the worst choice. So becoming strict is not the best, honestly, but these two bonuses here are not great, and I think we are not ready for war yet. So honestly, I want to return them to their captors because I don't want to be at war against the Numidians right now. We basically are not prepared at all for that. So yeah, let's keep a low vision for now. Okay, so there's some is that barley? No, sorghum farm. I don't even know what that is, but yeah, certainly some interesting stuff down here if there's a city side close by. Now let's actually get you over here. Yeah, there's a city side over there. Don't want to move my warrior too far away from our city, but I think for now that's fine. Right, and we can end the year over here. Again, this stuff up there is being built up, and we're going to look at the city map in a second here. But let's actually start with our scout. So some horses over here. I think we can also harvest these. And let's basically check on all of this stuff as we are sort of slowly eaching out our lines of visibility over here. I guess we can move up just a little bit with these guys because I really want to know what's going on over here. And honestly, I do want to know what's over there as well. Ooh, there's some wine over here. Well, that's interesting. Okay, and you can basically see that as we have spent all of the orders for these guys, we could move further, but it would cost us some training, and I'm not sure that that would be a decent choice over here, so I think we're not going to do that. We're instead going to end the year. Pretty quick things over here, but that's fine. Natal astrologer. A court astrologer attends the birth of your new daughter, and she prepares a reading of celestial bodies as a gift for the newborn. According to the signs, your child, Judges Academia, oh dear, will grow to become brave. Interesting. So she would be good general, cunning, also interesting, or prosperous. Now, I think prosperous would be a good choice because we do have a son, Alexander the Great, basically. He's a good general and he's a good leader. Now, that means basically his sister, Archidemia, or however, will probably not become a leader. She could try to overcome Alexander and so on, but I don't think that's really that likely. So, yeah, she's not going to become the leader of our nation. She's also unlikely to be our best general around. Alexander might be doing a better job at that. So, honestly, I think she being a governor would not be the worst idea. So, yeah, let's go for prosperous here. That's fine. Friendly visit. A family friend paid a visit to Prince Alexander's school and sends a glowing report about the heir's progress. He appears happy and healthy, and he is excited to return home, take his place in court. The future looks bright. So we can send him a gift of academic text. That would give him a little bit more experience. That's nice. Or some charisma. Well, let's go for the XP. I think that's the slightly better choice here. Which is going to be nice. Let's continue exploring over here, picking up a couple of these resources. Some stones is certainly nice to build up some things in the future. And we are sort of slowly eaching out over here over the terrain. Would like to get a little bit more in terms of goodie hunts, but I suppose that's fine. Let's have a look over here just across these mountains. Just want to see whether there's anything off note over here that we might want to pick up. That's fine. Our two workers have finished the improvements over here. And there's an interesting point over here in that you don't need anyone specifically in the city to work on these tiles. That's different than in Civilization. You can basically do improvements all over the place and you don't need to be too concerned. The difference is you can have someone working from the city, but it's sort of considered that this is, I would suppose, a village down there in a way. So these things are being worked anyway. You can basically see they are producing right now some food. And if we are hovering over that, you can see that Athens is already producing food. And that should be over here. Yeah, you can see basically it's producing 4 because it's a capital. It's deducting a little bit because it has some population. But it is producing something due to the nets. So that's pretty nice because the nets are producing something for here. We're also developing pretty rapidly over here, which is fantastic as well. So overall, not a bad start for us over here. We are gonna get trapping in 2 years, so we might actually start to prepare getting over here towards some of these locations, either for the fur or for the elephants. Now the elephants would be interesting because they would give us a little bit more in terms of orders. We don't need that many orders, but we don't have that many either, so that might not be a bad choice over here. On the other hand, going for the furs would also be interesting. Likewise, I do think building a quarry early on might be a good choice, so that would give us some stone, and stone just generally are good improvements over time. So it's not a bad place for a quarry because it's adjacent to some mountains and it's arid. So yeah, let's actually get over here and start building a quarry. And that will again then just give us some of this stuff. So that's good start over there, I suppose. We can likewise get over here, start building some iron. We are currently using some for the maintenance of our units, but I think building a mine over there would not be a bad choice. It's not a perfect space for that, but it's not that bad either, so I suppose we can get over here and start building the mine. Why are you not ready to build a mine though? Something is off. We do have... Oh, right. We don't have enough orders. That's it. Okay, so we could buy an order for military points, but I don't think that's that worthwhile. So actually, let's just end the year over here. And we are going to get, since trapping is going to be finished soon, we might just go ahead and directly go into that tile then. Shouldn't be that bad either. Right, let's just have you poke around over here, because I do want to see what's over here. There's a little bit of difficult terrain, but I suppose that's okay. And then let's use our scout here to venture out a little bit further. Ooh. Scouting reports portray the Scythian lands as a valuable source of potential plunder. We should consider seizing this opportunity and taking it from them. Now, we could declare war on them, and that would give us some more legitimacy, which is really nice because it would give us more orders. But honestly, again, I think at this point really this is just way too early for war, so that's a no. But we're getting a goody hot, and that's perfectly fine. Our explorers come across a series of weathered monuments lost in the undergrowth. Upon closer inspection, the structures appear to be inscribed with the laws of a forgotten city. So, sort of similar. Again, this is early access. I think some of the events are a little bit repetitive, but that's not too bad. We can send laborers and smash this into rubble. That would give us more stone. Yeah, interesting, but not that important. Or we could get some civic points from that, and I think that might be the better choice over here. We are producing 14.5 per turn right now, and 100 is pretty much, so yeah, I think we're gonna send sages to learn from that, and that's a fairly nice choice over here. There are the Scythians that we've just discovered, and there is some ore over here, which is also very interesting. Let's get over there. I don't think we can harvest that because it's too far away from Athens, basically. But that is alright. So we are building this. And I think we are not going to build the mine immediately. It would take 4 years, which is not that bad. It would give us some iron, and iron definitely is useful. Specifically, since I don't see that many points for iron, I think it might be good to build that early. So yeah, we're going to go ahead and do that. That's fine. Still have a lot of orders over here left over. Oh, there's an event also. Your cognomen has changed to the Explorer. That's nice because we have explored a couple of things, and that's great because it does increase our legitimacy, and that in turn increases orders. So yeah, that's perfectly fine and great, because that also means we can use our unit over here to explore a little bit further and send it around a little bit more, which is great and fine. Right, so that being said, I think this is a perfect place to put in a cut. Next time we will have a settler being built over here, which is perfectly lovely because we are getting trapping, and the settler we can then either expand down here or expand over here or down there. So a lot of big choices over here and a lot of decisions to make, specifically because we also have to consider what our next family should be doing. So yeah, overall very excited about that. Very excited about this game and this run, so do let me know whether you want me to continue with this series. Do leave a like, comment and subscribe, of course, and I hope to see you around next time. Bye bye guys.